actually buy those fleet vehicles, we may have to take a look at how to compensate for that. But overall, the budget is what it is. We were very conservative with our revenue numbers, also conservative with our expenses, and if anybody has any questions, we'll be glad to address those.
Does anybody on the board have a question of Mr. Smith or staff? This is a public hearing. At this time, is there anybody on my left that'd like to come before the board to ask any questions on the budget? Anybody on my left? Is there anybody on my right side that'd like to come before the board to discuss the budget? Questions, comments, concerns? Very well. Moving to item 2. Consider resolution adopting the annual fiscal year 2018-19 operating budget, appropriating expenditures and projected revenues for specified purposes, functions, and activities by fund for the budget period in the capital improvement program. Do we have a motion to approve the budget?
Motion to approve.
Ms. Ward with a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Tinsley with a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Good job, Mr. Smith and your team. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Staff did a great job.
Yes, sir. Moving into presentations and delegations, we're going to recognize the graduates of the 2018 Griffin Police Department Citizens Police Academy program. Chief Michael F. Yates will address. Good evening, Chief. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Of course, y'all know that we've been doing the Citizens Police Academy for a while at the police department, and it's been a work in progress over time, but I believe this particular group, our 2018 graduates, is one of the largest Citizen Police Academy groups that we've had. I'd like to think also we probably had the best time that we've had so far, especially of the groups that I've had anything to do with. And this particular year, we went to great lengths to try to roll back the classroom part of it and get more hands-on and really give our participants a taste of what it's like to do what we do and how we operate. And I'm really proud of them. I think we had 22 people in the class total. Of course, you know the people's schedules. We may not have anybody tonight, but I'd like to ask our graduates to come forward and be recognized. Don't be shy. Y'all weren't shy the whole time that we were there. And we do have a certificate for each participant, and I'm going to go through them with some attempt to not destroy some of the folks' names, but we pretty much got on a first name basis. Karen, if you'll help me, I'll call a name out, and if you'll round them up and give them their certificate, I'd appreciate it. Okay. Our first graduate was Montel Brown.
Brown.
He's hiding. How about Thomas Clark? Well, we're striking out so far. Yep. Y'all know each other, I take it. Kathy Etheridge. We're going to let y'all say a couple of quick words and get our picture made at the end, too, if you don't mind. Lori Hall. Lori was early to every single class we had, I think.
She was early tonight. I think she was the first one here.
That is. Jennifer Harrison. Sandra Hone. Me? There you go. I think you might have somebody with you too, don't you? Stephen Hone. Tiana Mays. I tried to recruit her. Still working on it. Cynthia Phillips. Mary Rayshaw. Russell? Okay.
Miss Rosso, that's my church member.
Michael Renew. I don't know that guy. Where is it? I think Mike brought the whole family. Tina Renew. And we got a young man named Samuel hiding somewhere also from the Renew.
There you go, buddy.
he got to experience some grown folks stuff when we went through death investigations and things like that. So I had to make sure it was okay with the parents before we went through it, but he really seemed to enjoy it. So we may have a homicide detective in the making there. Jacqueline Robertson. Mary Russell. Got it right that time. Sandra Simpkins. Aubrey Stevens. Andrea Sturcio. Kim Williams. Kyria Williams.
Land up around here. Get everybody. They got it.
Claudia Rowley. And last but not least, Wayman Wright, our defendant in our mock trial. Please give him a round of applause. Before we get our picture made, one or two of y'all want to say something real quick about your experience? You don't have to. You can. Come on.
As unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, now when I see these young men and young women out on the street in their patrol cars, I have a lot more respect, a lot more admiration after seeing what they've had to go through to get that far. These young men go through, and young women go through extreme vetting, training, background, and I just, when I see someone working a part-time job, say over here at sock shop, I just want to go up and say, hey buddy, I know what you went through. I'm glad to see you on the street. And I've learned with my interaction with the Chief Yates, Captain Natale, Sergeant Hayes, all the rest of the guys, that the Griffin Police Department is here truly to protect and to serve. They are here truly to protect and to serve, not to intimidate and harass, as some people may think. But I have a great deal of respect, and for Chief Yates and his team, they're doing an outstanding job. As an individual citizen, I don't know what else I can do to help the police department, but Chief, if there's anything I can do, y'all got my number.
Well, I appreciate it.
Give me a name.
I do want to extend my personal gratitude to you. We make a great team, and what we do at the police department, we can't do it without you, so thank you very much. So, y'all want to get a picture real quick, and we'll move on. We're going to have to squeeze in. You got it?
Pretty good so far. Been ready.
What's up? If you can't see the camera can't see you.
All right, on three. 1, 2, 3.
Good job, Ms. Ross.
Good job, Mike.
Thank you, Chief Yates and your crew, and thank you, folks, for giving 8 weeks of your lives to learn what the function of the Griffin Police Department. Please encourage, you're now our ambassadors. Please tell everyone about how great the Griffin Police Department, the City of Griffin is, and encourage other folks to take part every year. Next, we're going to recognize Consuela Malinux, Cashier Supervisor with the Customer Service Department, as the May 2018 Strongest League Award recipient, Dan Thompson, Electric Department, will address. Good evening, Mr. Dan.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everybody. Good to see you. And as my counterpart, Dr. Keller, says, this is the best part of my job, and I really enjoy it. We've gone through a lot of changes in customer service over the last year, if you will, and it took me that long to get Consuelo out of her shell and be a little more assertive, and I don't know if we should have done that or not. But I want our customer service manager, Miss Rita, to come up and read that right up, and I'm going to go sit with Consuelo's husband, and I'll get the real scoop. I'm going. See how shy she is? Miss Consuelo, please join us.
Good evening. How do we say good evening?
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. I would like to say thank you for the opportunity to recognize Consuelo Molyneux as the recipient of the Strongest Link for May 2018. On behalf of customer service, I would like to note that we anticipate each month the emails that reveal the monthly recipient of this prestigious award. We really appreciate the occasion when it's one of our teammates. The reason for the nomination: Consuelo Molyneux has been employed with the City of Griffin Customer Service Department since July 2004. She currently holds the position of Cashier Supervisor. Consuelo is often asked to assist to translate conversations between an employee and a customer who only speaks Spanish. Without Consuelo's willingness to assist with this, a communication gap would prohibit our customers from being able to sign up for service, being informed of their account balances, or receiving an answer to their billing questions. Consuelo is always eager to help and does so with a smile. She has been asked to help with other departments such as planning and development and water when a language barrier exists. There's also been occasions that her assistance was needed in municipal court to translate conversations. Consuelo was nominated for the May 2018 Strongest Link in the Chain, as she is a true demonstration of linking communications between the City of Griffin and its customers and citizens. For that, she deserves to be recognized. I know several years ago, the police department, as Chief Yates was talking about, they saw the need to have someone on staff who could communicate in Spanish with the citizens when it was necessary. And I can say Consuelo is a gem to this city, and we're very proud to have her on our team to be able to do the same for customer service. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Here's a picture and presentation.
Yes. Get in there. Where are you going?
Dan and Rita.
We gotta go get one.
Where at? Right here?
Wherever you want us. How's my hair? Thank you, everybody.
Consuelo, please introduce your family to us.
Good job.
Do it.
La familia.
Mi esposo, José Alberto Galindo.
In the
Mi
mic.
hijo.
In the mic.
Mi esposo, José Alberto. Mi hijo, David Galindo. Gracias.
Thank you, Consuelo, for your dedication to our community and for your hard work. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to review financial reports for April 2018. Chief Financial Officer Marcus Schwab will address. Good evening, sir.
Chairman, Commissioners. First, we'll look at the cash balance. Any questions on that? Again, this is as of April, so we got 3 more months. Okay. Next item, the local option sales tax report. Any questions on performance? And then we have the SPLOS collections. Any questions on projections?
No questions.
And then we have the interim statements by fund. Again, this is the performance as of April. So if you have any questions there, be free to entertain them for revenues, expenditures.
You'll be tracking as y'all planned, and
yes, sir.
Moving into the budget cycle should be good.
Auditors will be here June 30th or the end to conduct inventories, and then they will be on site on the first Tuesday after Labor Day right there.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Marcus.
Okay. Thank you.
Good job, sir.
Thank you.
Moving into citizens' comment. At this time, Chairperson opens the floor to comments for the audience. Comments should relate to specific agenda items not listed on the agenda for the public hearing or to a concern within the jurisdiction of the city. Commission meetings serve the purpose of conducting city business and are not a forum for the unlimited expression of opinion. The Chairperson reserves the right to limit comments to matters germane to city business and may refer speakers to the city manager or staff for resolution. With that being said, at this time, is there anybody on my left side like to come before the board to bring an issue or a concern? Anybody on my left? Is there anybody on my right side? Very well, thank you very much. Next item is public hearings. Public hearings are conducted to allow public comment on specific advertised issues such as rezoning, ordinances, policy development, operating budgets, and other legislative actions to be considered by the City Commission. The item tonight is to receive comments regarding a request for a variance from the Unified Development Code of the City of Griffin, Article 2, interpretations and definitions to allow an accessory structure to exceed the allowed square footage as currently defined. Director of Planning and Development Services, Toussaint Kirk, will address. Good evening, Toussaint.
Good evening. Yes, the applicant wishes to construct a 1,500 square foot guest house at 765 East College Street. The ordinance does allow for a 1,000 square foot guest house to be constructed. There are 5 criteria that we have to base our decisions on, and when you go through the 5 criteria, only 3 of the 5 I can say yes to. So staff has recommended denial of the request. However, in 2005, the board did grant permission for another accessory structure or guest house to be constructed along East College Street.
Okay. Are there any questions or concerns from the board members at this time?
When we did, what did you say, 2002?
2005.
2005. What was the square footage on it?
Roughly about the same, maybe a little bit smaller. But the 1,000 square feet is the max allowed.
And this property has about 8 acres?
Correct. It's about 7 acres.
7 acres.
You probably won't even see it from the street.
So I've not had any complaints or any concerns. I think it would be a...
No problem. Can I make a motion?
Yes. Well, we're going to do a public hearing first.
Oh, okay.
So I just want to make sure there are no questions of staff or from the commission. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody on my left that'd like to come before the board to ask questions or make comments?
Yes.
Please come forward. Good evening, sir. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Rick Thacker. I live at 145 Harrington Walk in Griffin, 30224. I am the applicant on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. John Shepard, who have been, the Shepard family has been here probably 100 years in Griffin. And as they begin to age, that we have some issues with mobility. They're in the house that Mr. Shepard came home from the hospital in 1938. So they've been here. In a recent hospital stay, one of them, had to be put in a hospital bed in a dining room because they simply can't get upstairs. So we proposed to design a 1,500 square foot little guest house cottage, if you will, in the rear. And we made it as mobility friendly as we could. We tried to meet some ADA requirements. As a result of that, we just can't cram everything into 1,000 feet and make it work. So it's not like we're just out here looking for a bunch of footage. We're trying to do something that allows them to efficiently maneuver and function as they begin to age here. It's probably going to happen to all of us. But anyway, I wanted to, we did expect, with all due respect, that Mr. Kirk would deny this variance application because it simply doesn't meet the criteria in the zoning ordinance. I think there may be a little more unique issues than, frankly, Mr. Kirk, you were giving us credit for, but hopefully everybody here can understand the catalyst behind trying to get these people into a comfortable situation. And likewise, this cottage would never be seen, as Mr. Kirk said, from the road. We went through a number of different scenarios, even trying to dissect the lot, maybe create another lot with entrance off of Hamilton Boulevard. There's so much differential and relief in the back of this property, maybe 40 feet, that it's just completely impractical to think about constructing anything back there. So we would appreciate you considering our variance request pretty honestly here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thatcher.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else on my left that'd like to come before the board? Is there anybody on the right that would like to come before the board? On the right side, on my right. Thank you very much. We're moving into the consent agenda. We need to take item 7 separately, both on the workshop and the regular session. On the workshop, I'm showing that Ms. Flowers, Ms. Murray, Mr. McCord were absent. So if we take that item first, approve the minutes of the workshop. Do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve, sir.
Ms. Ward with a motion, a second by Mr. Brock. Any discussion or changes? All in favor signal by raising your hand. So 4, you'll need to abstain.
Oh, I will, sorry.
It's fine. 4, and then so it'll be a 4, and 2 abstentions. Then moving into the regular meeting, Ms. Flowers and Mr. McCord are absent from the regular meeting. So do we have a motion to approve the regular meeting as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Mr. Tinsley with a motion. We have a second by Ms. Ward. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, signal by raising their hand. 5-0 with 1 abstention with Mr. McCord. Now, with the consent agenda, we have items 8 and through 28 on the consent agenda for approval. Most of these are purchases going into the new budget year following approval of the budget. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, items 8 through 28?
I'll make a motion.
Ms. Murray has a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Tinsley. Okay, items through 28, 8 through 20, all in favor, signal by raising your hand. All against, like sign, 6-0. Moving into the regular agenda, first item is to consider a request for a variance from the Unified Development Code of the City of Griffin, Article 2, Interpretations and Definitions, to allow an accessory structure to exceed the allowed square footage as currently defined. What is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion, Ms. Murray, to approve. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Tinsley. Any discussion from the board? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. All against, like sign, 6-0. Congratulations and enjoy your home. Item 30 is consider professional service agreement with the Archer Company to conduct complete pay plan, updated amount of $18,440. Niles Neville will address.
Make a motion we approve.
Mr. McCord's made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Ward. Are there any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, when we made the budget presentation, we talked about this, and I thought at that point we may have to use some contingency. However, Mr. Neville has found some money remaining in this fiscal year in his HR budget. So we're going to use money that was appropriated for human resources to do it. So we will not use your contingency. In a couple of months when we do rollovers, however, I'm going to ask that you roll over your contingency for possibly use down at the old City Hall, because we continue to run short there if we don't have an emergency between now and June the 30th that requires it. But this particular $18,000 will come out of Mr. Neville's budget.
We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neville. Item 31 is considered first reading of an ordinance amending the Code of Griffin, Georgia at Chapter 94 Utilities, Art 4 Stormwater Management by amending Section 94-169 to reflect the exemptions imposed by the Georgia General Assembly during the 2018 General Assembly. City Attorney Drew Whalen will address.
Make a motion that we approve.
Mr. McCord's made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Brock. Any questions? All in favor, signal by raising their hand. 6-0. Item 32, consider an agreement with Concrete Conservation, Inc. for the 2018 manhole rehabilitation program in the amount of $60,000 for the Water Wastewater Department. Dr. Keller is available if need to be addressed. Do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Mr.
Second.
Brock with a motion, Ms. Murray with a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 33 is consider approval of a resolution accepting the official results of the May 22, 2018 election for the City of Griffin. Question, shall the act providing for a mayor and mayor pro tem for the City of Griffin be approved? Be a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Tinsley made a motion. Do we have a second? Do we have a second for the results of the election?
Second.
Ms. Ward? All in favor, signal by raising their hand. All, you're up. You all against? You're against the...
You against the results?
of the election?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes, I'm approving. I'm
Okay.
on the next item. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm sorry.
6-0. Moving to the item 34, consider approval on the first reading of an ordinance amending the Code of Griffin, Georgia as Chapter 6, Alcoholic Beverages, Section 6-130, Days and Hours of Operation to expand the hours of operation for certain on-premises consumption licenses under the authority of Act 461 SB 17, 2008 General Session, subject to approval in a referendum called for by the purpose. Mr. Whalen, could you give a quick overview?
This is the brunch bill. 2018 General Assembly. If approved at a referendum to be held in conjunction with the general election in November, it would move the hours of Sunday sales in restaurants and in hotels, which derive 50% or more of their revenue from the sale of rooms, rental rooms, to 11 a.m. And right now, you can only start serving at 12:30 p.m. So it would fill that hour and a half gap. Approved.
Are there any other questions or comments of the board? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved, sir.
Mr. Brock with a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second. Mr. Tinsley with a second. Any questions or other discussion? All in favor of the brunch bill, please signal by raising your hand. All against, like sign.
I might add that this will require a second reading at your call meeting on the 19th.
Yes, sir.
And if it does gain approval at the referendum, it would become effective on November 20th. So that would be the first Sunday sales would commence.
What's the time of the call meeting on the 19th?
9 o'clock.
Item 35, consider approval of a motion authorizing the chairperson to acknowledge service of a bond validation petition filed by the District Attorney of the Atlanta Judicial Circuit for the issuance of additional bonds by MEAG and for the City Attorney to file a timely answer thereto in Fulton County Superior Court admitting the entitlement of said bonds to be validated. City Attorney Drew Whalen will address. Quick overview.
Just briefly, as you can see from the attachments on here, we've gotten pro forma documents which consist of the notice to the participants of MEAG who all have to consent because your contracts, you're under 4 project contracts now, power sales contracts. So there are going to be additional bonds issued by MEAG in all 4 of those projects. And all of the participants, since the contract has to be validated as part of the security for the bonds, have to consent. I received word today that the actual notice and petition, validation petition, should be in my hands by the 27th of this month. And we have, they're asking us to return within 5 days the signed documentation, which includes the acknowledgement of service and the answer. So, Doug, if you approve this, of course, we would like to have you that next day or as soon as we get the documentation to move forward. So this is really an approval in advance of what is to come in the way of a legal petition. And there could be some slight deviation in the amounts or something like that, but really it's an approval in material form to what you see attached.
Are there any other questions? Do we have a motion to approve the motion of authorizing the chairperson?
Motion to approve.
Ms. Ward with a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Mr. Tinsley with a second. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. You're good, Mr. Brock? Up or down?
I'm sorry.
You're fine. 6-0.
The next
Item 36, consider a resolution making an appointment of an unexpired term of office for the Judge of Municipal Court until January 2019 appointments and approve compensation for all said positions. We have several folks in the book that have been submitted for nomination. We have Christy Lovelace, Tim Shepard, Trey Howell, and Reverend Dexter Wimbush.
Wimbish.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I'd open the floor for nominations. The nominations do not need to be seconded. Do we have a motion?
Well, hold on one second. I submitted Attorney Lisa Reeves like way back. I even brought it to the meeting.
that he did. I agree with you.
Thank you.
Reeves, R-E-E-V-E-S.
Lisa Roberts Reeves.
R-E-E-V-E-S?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we'll add Ms. Lisa Roberts Reeves. So with those names that we currently have listed, I'd like to open the floor for nominations.
I'd like to nominate Attorney Lisa Roberts Reeves.
Okay. We've got a motion for Lisa Robert Reeves. Do we have nominations of anybody else?
I'd like to nominate Ms. Lovelace.
I have a nomination for Ms. Lovelace. Any other nominations at this time? Do we have a motion to close nominations?
So moved.
Mr. Brock with a motion to close nominations. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Murray with a second to close nominations. So we're going to take each one in order of nomination. For all those in favor of Ms. Lisa Roberts Reeves, please raise your hand. We have 2 votes. And those in favor of Ms. Christy Lovelace, please raise your hand. So 4 votes for Ms. Lovelace, and then 2 votes for Ms. Robert Reeves, Ms. Lisa Robert Reeves, Mr. McCord, and Ms. Ward. Okay. Moving to item 37, consider resolution making an appointment for the unexpired term of the Office of Municipal Court Solicitor until January 2019 appointment, and making the appointment of Assistant Municipal Court Solicitor and approving compensation for said position. So we're looking at appointing Mr. Scott Mayfield as the solicitor and Ms. O'Connor as the assistant solicitor. And do those need to be nominated as well, Mr. Smith, or are those recommendations of staff?
Recommendation.
Okay, so we have a recommendation of staff. Do we have a motion to approve the recommendation from staff?
I'll make a motion.
Do we have any other names in the book, or that's the only names?
That's it.
Well, actually, we don't have a book of nominations. These are not advertised. These are persons who are offering themselves for these particular positions, and these are appointed by the board. So we don't really have a book of volunteers or anything.
Okay.
So we got a motion from Ms. Murray. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brock. Okay, all in favor, please signal by raising your hand. All against, like sign. 6-0. Item 38 is consider appointment of the City Historic Preservation Commission to fill the 3-year unexpired term of Amanda Slade, who resigned to expire on December 31, 2019. And we have 2 nominations or 2 names in the book. We have Ms. Bonnie Moray and we have Dr. Yoshanda Jones. I'd like to open the floor for nominations. Nominations do not need to be seconded. Do we have any nominations at this time?
I nominate Ms. Jones, Dr. Jones. I think we put Ms. Moray on the other, what was the other? Environmental Council. I nominate Ms. Jones for this.
Good.
Dr. Jones, I'm sorry.
Do we have any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Ms. Murray.
Do we have a motion to close nominations?
Motion closed.
Mr. Tinsley to close nominations. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Murray. All in favor of closing nominations, please raise your hand. Okay, we'll take them by Dr. Jones first. All those in favor of Dr. Jones, please raise your hand. Ms. Ward and Mr. McCord, and all in favor of Ms. Bonnie Moray, please raise your hand. And 4 votes for Ms. Murray. Moving to item 39. Consider approving and authorizing execution of a quitclaim deed and memorandum of understanding transferring the vacant fire station property at 401 North Expressway, which has been declared surplus, to the Southern Crescent Technical College Foundation. City Manager will address.
Well, as you know, we've been working on this for a while.
Long time.
And we have Dr. Thomas and Mr. Smith and Ms. Barbara Jo Cook here representing Southern Crescent, and I think we're all excited to get this eyesore out of the way so we can see Southern Crescent. And you have the memorandum there with the stipulations for the property. So we're looking forward to them taking control and beautifying that spot quickly.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the memorandum authorizing the transfer?
Motion to approve, sir.
Mr. Brock with a motion, Mr. Tinsley with a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. Congratulations on a new piece of real estate.
Thank you, and I'll thank you.
And thank you for what you do.
Thank y'all for taking.
And thank y'all for what you do for the citizens of Griffin and educating our workforce and making a difference every day. Thank y'all. Item 40. Consider approval of travel and registration for Commissioner McCord, Reed Ward, Brock, Tinsley, Murray, and Holberg to attend the MEAG Power Annual Meeting July 9 through 11, 2018. Do we have a motion to approve the travel expense?
Motion approved.
Ms. Ward with a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
Ms. Murray with a second. All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. And that is our agenda for tonight. Moving into the City Manager's report.
Yes, sir. We will have a call meeting on the 19th. That'll be a morning meeting, 9 o'clock in the morning on next Tuesday. A very short agenda. But since we will not have regular meetings for the next 2 regular meeting dates, we do need to have that very quick, short 9 o'clock meeting on the 19th. Thursday morning at 9 o'clock, Mr. Darrell Ingram from Electric Cities of Georgia will be at the Welcome Center doing a presentation on economic development and placemaking for downtowns. So we'd like to invite you to that. That will be at 9 o'clock and go through lunch, and lunch will be provided. And I want to congratulate Chief Yates and all the graduates of the Citizens Police Academy and remind everybody that the Citizens Fire Academy starts Thursday, June the 21st. So we look to have an equal group in the fire department. It'll be at their new headquarters building on Thursday night at 6:30 on June 21st.
Thank you. Mr. Whalen?
I have nothing further.
Mr. McCord?
I did want to acknowledge the staff and the president of Southern Crescent Technical College, Dr. Evelyn Thomas, in the house, and the board members and also staff members of the college that does us well here in Griffin. We're so proud to have you guys serving our community, students, and our surrounding areas. So thank you for coming out tonight and enjoy your property.
Thank you.
Ms. Murray?
Let's see, is Marcus still here? Did he leave? He's here. I just want to thank you for the budget. I didn't know if I would make it through. This is my first budget going through as a commissioner, and I appreciate Mr. Smith and Marcus and your staff the time that you all took to go through the thing with me and fine-tooth comb, Truman and I. And I want to say I have complete confidence in your staff, and if any of the citizens in my district have any questions, I can honestly say I feel that you all are very frugal in your spending and everything is accounted for, and go out and win that award for us again. And thanks for everything that you do, and thanks for everybody coming to the meeting. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Brock?
Well, got a lot I can say, but I'll make it short. I'm on the Airport Authority, and I can tell you right now, we're back on track. We were off track some. That everything is going smoothly. Mr. Stapleton is doing a wonderful job for us. We're back on good speaking terms with GDOT, and that's an important factor that we got to deal with, because we got to share the money. When we get money, they got to approve it and we get some of their money too to go with it. So the airport's on its way again, so we'll be looking at phase 2 and finishing some of these items up. Hopefully in the mid of the summer and early fall we'll have it done and start on phase 2, and maybe in another short period of time, maybe 4 or 5 years, maybe. No, I'm kidding. Maybe a couple of years. We will have a new airport here. So hang in there with us. We'll get it done. And that man sitting way back yonder with a big beard on him, on his head, turning his back towards me. Robert Morrill does a wonderful job at the old airport, 6 Alpha 2. I just think we ought to name the new airport 6 Alpha 3. I don't know. But we've been around a long time with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brock. Mr. Tinsley?
No, just to piggyback off what Rodney and Commissioner Brock has already said. Dr. Thomas, can't wait to see that new fountain down there. So,
Thank you.
So you get your demolition and go to work.
It's going to be a statue of Dick Moore out here.
Yeah.
God forbid. I'm just kidding.
No, and for those who haven't signed up for Fire Academy, I'm not sure. I know it starts on the, 21st? How many spots have we got left? None? Oh, it's miserable. And having to graduate from Fire Academy, it's very, very rewarding. You learn a lot of stuff about how these guys operate. So if you haven't signed up, you want to, I think the application's online. So do so as quick as you can. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Just want to remind everybody, coming up this weekend, we've got Concerts in the Park continuing with the Return, co-sponsored with Newton Galloway's firm and the Downtown Council. So that's going to be at 7 p.m. at the park at 6. And then for all of you that have granddaughters or daughters, they're having a princess event on the following Saturday night at 5:30 p.m. So another great activity at the park at 6 and the Downtown Council. So I encourage you to do that. I'd also appreciate everything the staff has done this year. I guess we'll have one more meeting before the end of this calendar year, but I appreciate your hard work and dedication and keep moving forward.
Fiscal. Before the end of the fiscal.
Fiscal. Thank you. One of our ladies that has been an asset to this community for many years, Miss Grace English, passed away this week. She was a good friend. She followed me as Kiwanis Club president in Griffin Kiwanis Club in 2001 and 2022, lieutenant governor of our district, and she retired from Spalding County Parks and Rec. So keep David and Dennis in your prayers and their family and their friends. She was a workhorse, loved Griffin, and she was such a blessing to so many. So just wanted to close with our prayers for the family of Miss Grace English. With that being said, are there any other comments? We have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Ms. Tinsley with a motion. Do we have a second? Ms. Murray with a second. All in favor, please rise.
Thank you,
Let us know if you sit down. All right, yeah, we don't have a picture. Yeah.